Welcome back, everyone. As always, it is a blessing to be here. Today, we are covering something that should be good news and is not moving the price at all. Here's what we will be looking at. A Korean bank has adopted Ripple's payment service. The XRP Ledger just crossed 2 million AI agent transactions. Morgan Stanley disclosed XRP holdings in a regulated filing, and XRP is sitting at exactly $1 while all three of those things are true. Let us start where we always start, with the board. Total crypto market cap is $2.21 trillion. Fear and greed is at 41, which is still fear. Bitcoin dominance is 58.9%, and the altcoin season index is at 31 out of 100. That combination tells you the whole story before we touch a single headline. Money is not leaving crypto, it is sitting inside Bitcoin and ignoring everything else. Now, the number that matters. XRP is at $1, essentially flat on the day. Hold that in your head, because everything that follows is genuinely positive news. The first story, and this is the one being reported the most carelessly. A Korean bank has adopted Ripple's cross-border payment service. Jeonbuk Bank, 24/7 business remittances. Here's what the release actually says. Ripple describes it as near real-time stablecoin cross-border settlement stablecoin. And when CoinDesk asked which asset actually moves the money, XRP or RLUSD, Ripple did not answer. So let me be precise about what we know. This is real adoption of Ripple, the company. Whether it is adoption of XRP, the asset, is a question nobody has answered. Those are two different questions, and the difference matters a great deal if you happen to own one and not the other. I am not telling you this to be negative. I am telling you because the moment you conflate Ripple's business with XRP's demand, you will misprice every announcement like this one for the rest of the cycle. The second story, and this one is fascinating for a reason nobody is leading with, the XRP Ledger has now processed over 2 million transactions between autonomous AI agents. 2 million transactions. That is a real number, and it is genuinely interesting. Software paying software on chain without a human in the loop. Now, here is the part that got left out of almost every headline. The total value moved across those 2 million transactions is about $7,400. That works out to roughly 1/3 of a cent per transaction. Think about what that actually means. The transaction count is real and the technology works. The economic weight is a rounding error. Both of those are true at the same time, and only one of them is being put in a thumbnail. And here's my honest take. Micro payments are supposed to be micro. That is the entire design goal of agentic payments, so tiny amounts are not a failure. But if you are holding XRP waiting for agent activity to move the price, understand the scale you actually need. 2 million transactions moved less money than a used car. You would need that volume multiplied by many orders of magnitude before it registers on price at all. The third story. Morgan Stanley disclosed holdings in 3 XRP exchange-traded funds in its quarterly filing. Here are the actual numbers from that filing. 6,715 shares of the Franklin Fund, 255 shares of the Rex Osprey Fund, 67 shares of the Bitwise Fund. In that same filing, Morgan Stanley holds $549 million of BlackRock's Bitcoin exchange traded fund. A disclosure is a filing, not an endorsement. The XRP position is real, and next to the Bitcoin position, it is a rounding error. Both of those are true, and only one of them is being reported to you. So let us look at what the market has done with all of it. XRP is at $1. That level is not sacred, it is just crowded. What I am watching is not whether XRP touches $1, because it already has repeatedly. I am watching whether it can close above it with volume behind the move. A drift across $1 on thin volume is noise. A break with real volume is a decision. Let us go across the rest of the basket. Stellar is at just under 16 cents, down about 2.5%, and it is the weakest name in this basket today. Hedera is at about 6.5 cents, essentially flat. Now, XPR Network, which deserves its own moment, as always. XPR is at about 1/4 cent, basically unchanged on the day. But look at the chart rather than the daily percentage, because the daily percentage is hiding something. XPR has been putting in higher lows over the last stretch, while most of this basket has kept sliding. On a small cap asset with thin order books, I am always careful about reading too much into that because a handful of orders can move a thin book in either direction. But a pattern of higher lows while the rest of the basket bleeds is worth watching, and it is the kind of thing you only see if you look at the chart instead of the number. Quick macro, and I will keep it to one line because the macro is not the story today. Bitcoin is at $64,758, up about 0.9%, and Ethereum is at $1,914, up a fraction. Both are grinding, not breaking. So let me pull all of this together because there is a single thread running through today. A bank integrated Ripple. The ledger processed 2 million agent transactions. A major institution disclosed a regulated XRP position. Every one of those is real, and not one of them is big enough yet to move a market of this size. The bank integration may not touch XRP at all. The 2 million transactions moved $7,000. The institutional position is a few thousand shares against $500 million in Bitcoin. That is not a bear case. It is a scale problem. The adoption is arriving in exactly the shape you would expect real adoption to arrive in, which is small, technical, and unglamorous. What it is not is a price catalyst, and anyone selling you today's headlines as one is not reading the numbers underneath them. As always, none of this is financial advice. Nothing here is a price prediction. Every figure I have shown you today is a live number with a source, and you should go and check every one of them yourself. If this was useful, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you catch these breakdowns as they come.